Hello everybody, welcome to my super short and hopefully informative video on how to do the SAI flush on a 993 Porsche. I have a 96 C4 with IU plates, Hoosiers, and I've already done most of the work. So I'm just going to show you what I've done, and hopefully this will be helpful. There's lots of information on Renless, P-Car Workshop, and other places online, but there weren't any really videos that I saw, and sometimes it helps to get I think it helps to get the live information. So anyway, obviously this is the engine, and I've already removed the air box. Was attached here and back here, and I've got access to the secondary air intake system. Last year I replaced my secondary air intake check valve to solve the problem, or what I was hoping would solve the problem. It didn't. So that's the reason I'm doing the full flush now. But there it is, there's a secondary air intake check valve. We'll just remove it right now. It's very difficult to remove the check valve. I definitely recommend getting the modified crow's foot. I don't know how people do it other ways, because it's hard enough to do it even with the modified crow's foot, but when I did it last year, I used anti-seize, so it's relatively easy for me to get it off this time. But anyway, we've got now access to the secondary air intake system. You can see right there where the check valve used to be. And that is where we're going to use our carb cleaner to inject it under pressure when we're ready to do that. Now, the second hardest part about this process I found was removing the heat exchanger on the driver's side. Let's get under the car here, take a look. You can see I've got the heat exchangers removed. The other one's over there already. And we've got the exhaust valves accessible. The small inlet holes are hard to see, but they're behind the exhaust valve guides back there. Let's see if we can get a look at one maybe. There, you can sort of barely see it. It's just behind that valve guide. Let's see if we can see it on this other cylinder. Yeah, anyway. By far, this is the worst one so far. So I think this is probably the culprit here. You can see all the carbon buildup. I'm going to try and clean that out a little bit. But what I wanted to show you was that you cannot access this nut right here without first loosening the sway bar. I had to disconnect it from the links there, and I did not have to take it off all the way. I wouldn't recommend taking it off all the way. In fact, I probably did more than I needed to, but if you take it off of here, off the end link, and here where it's attached to the frame, then you should be able to move it enough to access this stubborn nut right here, which is a lot of stuff's in the way. Obviously on this car everything's super tight, so there's always something in the way. But after removing, well, I should say first that to remove the heat exchangers, you want to disconnect these three nuts here from the cat, and you disconnect the red hoses and the top hose. Where is the top hose? Ah, here we go. The top hose right here. Okay, just hose clamps, not a big deal. In fact, they seem like they're on there harder than they really are. Once you get them going, it's pretty easy to remove. Like I said, the hardest part was really this nut right here, because I had to remove the sway bar. I've already drilled out on the passenger side. I've already drilled out the inlet holes I guess you call them. I'm not sure what they're exactly called, for the secondary air intake system. They're, trust me, behind the exhaust valves. I can't really get a good angle here on them, but they're there. You'll see them. They're not, you know, they don't pop out at you, but you'll see them. They're there. It's the only small little hole in there. And I used my drill and my bicycle brake cable to get in there and drill it out. It's not that hard. The first 2 inches or so, there's a bend, so you kind of got to drill a little bit to get the cable to go around that bend, and then, you know, after a while, just keep working on it. You'll get it all the way in there. Drill it out for a while, and we're gonna stop the video right now while I get at these last 3 cylinders, or last 3 exhaust valves, and when I'm done with that, we'll come back and I'll show you how I'm doing the flush by putting carburetor cleaner in the system and pressurizing it. Be right back. Okay, and here's the second part of my video, and I just wanted to show exactly what I'm doing here. Obviously this is my drill. Recommend a plug-in drill because this takes a while and you'll go through batteries. So I using my plug-in drill, and that there obviously is the open exhaust valve, and I'm trying to get the light in the right spot so you can see. There we go. You can see I'm drilling in the hole. And I've already got this hole drilled out, although on the right side, on the driver's side I should say, I have not been able to get the brake cable to go in very far. However, I have been able to get the Techron to come through the system, as I've already done a test flush. But that's basically the idea. Brake cable in the opening there. You can just barely see it. And then the second part, after you've drilled these out, I've discovered that ping pong balls work just about perfectly to close the exhaust valves. And as I said, this was had the most carbon buildup. So I've already done a flush, and we'll demonstrate that again with the help of my neighbor Josh. Josh, take the camera for me. By the way, a forehead light helps quite a bit. Okay, so as I said in the previous video, I purchased from Pelican the kit. You getting this, Josh? Mm-hmm. This little piece? And that gives you this handy dandy little piece here. And go ahead and you just insert this, screw this into where the secondary air intake check valve was. Right there. Now first, it might be a good idea to spray some carb cleaner. All right. gonna spray. Okay. Let's see here. We should be able to see the carb cleaner. And the secondary air intake system. Now we're going to attach the fitment. Show them what I'm doing here, Josh. The kit comes with the hose and the attachment. We're going to hook it up. There we go. All right. And okay, we're going to Okay, the best method I found is to get the tank pressure up to about 60 psi, and with your adjustment here, just gradually increase the pressure until you see the fluid start to come out the other end. And like I said, we got the ping pong ball method, stopping up the other 5 because we're concentrating on this one right here. And we're going to turn up the pressure a little bit. And we can see the fluid start to come through. You don't need much pressure. If you crank up the pressure too much, you'll pop these ping pong balls out. So the idea is just to get the fluid to go through to that specific valve, that specific exhaust valve. Okay? The other ones, you can hear the air coming through it. So it's relatively clean, but I'm going to do it a few more times just to make sure, because to get to this point is a lot of work and there's no sense rushing it. Might as well make sure that you've got good flow in all of them. And that's basically the idea. Thanks for checking out my videos. Post any questions. I'm not a professional mechanic, far from it, but this is a job that I think just about anybody who can do an oil change can pretty much do, if you've got a little bit of time and patience and the right tools, of course, always help. Thanks a lot.